Hello friends and fellow gamers, Card Clash of Illusion is back in Idle Heroes, and that means it is time to get some free contract story gems as a free-to-play player. Now there's several ways you can approach this week's event, either by using your contract story gems, saving them, by spending money, or choosing not to, so we'll be breaking all of that down. We also have an awakening session, so I'll be explaining whether it's good value to go in that, and what I would do personally if I was in different situations in the game. So get ready folks, I'll break down this week's event so you know exactly what to do. Before we jump in though, let me remind you, if you need direct help with your Idle Heroes account, the best way you can get advice from me and the community is to join us on Tuesdays for account reviews. You work one-to-one with me to look at your account and help you improve your progress and make good decisions for moving forwards. If you need advice like this, join us through our Discord, which you can find a link for in the description, and join us at twitch.tv/MKxJUMP for the live streams. They start 2 hours before reset happens in Idle Heroes on a Tuesday, so join us for that to make sure that you're getting the most progress on your account. Anyway, let's jump into this week so you know exactly what to do. So every day for logging in this week, because it's a Card Clash of Illusion event, you're going to get 7 enchanted cards. So that's 49 across the week. Make sure you are claiming these. Now, if we look at the value packs for this week, they are standard for Card Clash. You'll notice the big standout thing here is that we do not have treasure train tickets. Card Clash events haven't traditionally given these. Normally, during events, you can use your contract story gems to pick up not just event items, but also treasure train tickets, which improves the overall power of your team in the treasure train. We'll be talking about the treasure train in a second, actually, for some exciting news as to when hero tokens coming back, so stay tuned for that one. But more importantly, guys, this value pack is probably best ignored. However, if you do want to push the Card Clash of Illusion, picking these up with contract story gems is one of the few ways to get enchanted cards, so you may be forced to do this if you want to make progress. I'll be talking about whether it's optimal and whether you should later on in the video. First, we need to look at the rewards for Card Clash of Illusion to make sure you guys know how to approach this. First things first, you have to be completing the stages to get the rewards. You complete a stage by drawing cards, and then you can use those cards to make combination teams, which are able to do damage to the boss. Now, this boss, for example, has 220,000 HP, so we want to do that much damage to it, and also it's weak to Shadow, Dark, and Transcendence heroes. So if this was a full line of any of those three, that would be amazing, because there's also a multiplier bonus on teams if you have 2 of a kind or 3 of a kind. So what we see here is a team that's okay because it's got 3 Abyss heroes, but it's not amazing. If we draw for the next one, we see Abyss again, there's Shadow, there's Light, and here you can now see we have a final damage bonus that's come through. Also, this card allows us to switch to Forest should we need that. And if we draw for the final team, unfortunately I can't because I don't actually have any additional tickets, but what we can do is we can buy them with gems. So let's just say that we're going to buy 2 here, so let's draw and then draw again, and there you go. That looks like a really good team because it's got a Shadow, a Transcendence, and a Dark. It would be nice if there were 2 of the same to give us an aura bonus, but you can see here that we do have some nice buffs. This aura bonus cannot be given to that team because we don't have one, but this final damage boost is able to be used to improve our output. Basically, you want to try and put as many buffs onto one team as you can to stack their multipliers and ultimately make the team as strong as possible. Here, I would probably leave Team 2 in case we get a buff that lets us turn both the neighbor heroes of our Shadow into Shadow heroes as well. So here, I probably just send Team 1 and see what my next 3 cards are. My advice for players is to buy your enchanted cards with gems. You can get 60 here. Add that with the 49 that you're getting for free by logging in. You should have more than enough to get to stage 5. And completing stage 5 is going to get you 5 Glorious Treasury coins, which you can then use in the Glorious Treasury to pick up rewards here. You'll notice Treasury 1 has a discount opportunity, meaning some of the first things you buy here are only 5 as opposed to 10, which is exactly how many we're going to be getting from the Card Clash of Illusion, assuming we just go to stage 5. So most people will just be doing that, getting Stellar Shards. Maybe you want to be getting some Residence Construction stuff to help your Celestial Island, or if you're a really newer player or you just need some more eggs, you could go ahead and buy this to get yourself a ton of Void Egg selection chests to get your Star Spawns established. Whatever works best for you, go for that, but typically Stellar Shards are your best bet. If you're ever wondering why we never recommend Crystals of Transcendence, it's because you want to have 3 times as many Stellar Shards as you do Crystals of Transcendence on your account. That's because you need that many stellar shards to establish a hero up to level 120 in the Tree of Origin. Now, you're not always taking heroes to that level, but it will help you far greater later down the line when you are trying to get a good balance of crystals to stellar shards. So it's always important that you have a 3-to-1 ratio. So for every 5 million crystals of transcendence, you have 15 million stellar shards. Now, let's move on to some more of the stuff we have here. We have the Illusion leaderboard. This is where people can go into the card Clash of Illusion, and actually once you've done several of these bosses, go to the challenge stage where you can try and make different teams here. There's team 1, 2, and 3, where you'll have a lot of different heroes that you can combine to try and get the most damage possible. By attacking in there, you will get yourself established on the leaderboard, and depending on where you place in the leaderboard, you'll get gems, or if you're in the top 50, an additional avatar for your account as well, which is Sherlock holding an Ace of Hearts. Very cool. Now, we have our Awakening privileges here as well. This is rewarding you for awakening heroes. You will get a certain amount of points for each hero you awaken. E- is giving as low as 3, and if you're stupidly lucky, a triple S is going to get you 20 points. It's more likely that you're going to be hovering somewhere around the Ds and the Es, so on average, you get about 5 or 6 points per hero. So let's say we're going in here, is it worth using our contract storage gems for awakens like this? Well, at 100 you do get yourself a mysterious artifact selection chest, which is nice because this contains Demon Bell and Antler's Cane, 2 artifacts you can't actually pick up in Glorious Treasury events. So if you look at Treasury 2, if you were able to get to 10 treasury coins, you can choose an artifact. However, Demon Bell and Antler's Cane are not available here. So oftentimes people have to go in these Awakening Privilege events to get themselves chests so they can get Demon Bells, because Demon Bell, when it's upgraded, is able to give you energy when that hero does an active skill. It feeds all the heroes in your team energy, which is what we call energy feed, and the more energy cycling round, the more active skills you do, and therefore the more powerful your team is. So we love to put Demon Bells on support heroes, and another artifact you can go for here as well is Antler's Cane. Antler's Cane, again, is one of those artifacts you can't pick up, but Antler's Cane, if you upgrade it, is able to buff you at the end of each round. So in long fights like Star Expedition or Void bosses, which last a long time, they go all the way up to round 15, you establish a lot of all damage dealt on your heroes, allowing you to do much more damage than you would with a different damage artifact like a Melodic Strings, for example, which is more front-loaded and therefore does more at the start of the fight. Moving on, 150 points is going to get you either Spiritual Essence or a Sublimation Chest. Typically, Sublimation Chest is the pick here. Sublimation is super important for all accounts. Even if you don't have a Transcendence hero, even if you're not level 130 and don't have the tree, get Sublimation because you will need this later on to make your heroes actually good. So very, very recommended. Same here for the next one. A lot of people go for Core of Origin Shard chests. One of the big mistakes I see is a lot of people over-invest in Core of Origin Shards. You don't need too many of these. If you have less than 6 Transcendence heroes, you literally need 1 core, which is just a single core for a Betty. That's assuming you're using Betty. And yeah, you don't need the other cores because you shouldn't be getting Destiny on your team until you have at least 5 or 6 Transcendence heroes. It is better to have a full team than a little bit of Destiny. It's very, very resource intensive to put Destiny on a hero. It requires you to have 8 Core of Origin Shard chests. This is massive. That's a lot to build a noble core. I much prefer to just pick up Sublimation so that you can have a full team of 6 with good Sublimation. Good Sublimation is more important than Destiny, especially when you consider getting further progress in the Destiny Temple requires you to have as many as 3 or 4 Destiny heroes, which means you need 3 or 4 noble cores. Now at that point, we're talking as many as 32 of these Core of Origin chests. That's ridiculous. New players should not be chasing that. Players that have less than 6 Transcendence heroes shouldn't be chasing that. So don't be a bozo. Don't be like most people that make mistakes in the early game. Do not pick up Core of Origin chests. Sublimation is a priority. Finally, if you want to push to 600, you could go here and get Scattered Spirit Vein Shards or Divine Power Aurora Gems. This is only good for people that really have a lot of Contract Storage Gems. They don't care how they use their Contract Storage Gems. They just enjoy gambling here in the Awakening Privileges. I personally don't think it's worth going in the Awakening Privilege unless you, for example, have a lot of B stones in the bag. So see my C- stone here and my C stone there. Let's say I had C-, C, a couple Bs in there as well. Bearing in mind, by the way, quick disclaimer, if you look at the Card Clash rewards, you actually do get a B- stone at stage 11. So if you're a player who's pushing further in this, getting to there also can be pretty attractive. But anyway, let's assume that you do have a few of those stones. Then it may be tempting just to use them to get yourself a good top-up of points, and it will make you get closer to 100 so you can just grab the Demon Bell. I think for a lot of players, actually just stopping at 100 and getting a Demon Bell is the best option. I have changed my opinion on this recently. I used to recommend that people go to 300 because you can pick up the Sublimation, but now there are other events where Sublimation is much easier to pick up, and actually Demon Bell is such a high demand item that I would prefer just to go to 100 and get a Demon Bell and call it a day. What's better, going to 300 points and getting 1 Demon Bell, or going to 100 points 3 times and getting 3 Demon Bells? I much prefer the second option, which gets us more Demon Bells. So especially for new players who are likely struggling to pick up good artifacts, going for the artifact chest would be my recommendation if you were going to push. Now, let's look at the contractual strategy here. This is phenomenal. Normally, this is giving you rewards for the progress you've made in campaign, but that severely punishes people whose accounts are less than level 130. So DHGames have switched it to your progress in the Realms Gate, which is amazing because as soon as you get an E5, you can start making progress there, which means probably within the space of a couple months, you can easily have Realms Gate Corruption level 60 unlocked, which means that's a whopping amount of contract story gems that you can get on your account. You're getting 600 from here. Now, one option with those contract storage gems is to go into the card clash of illusion and spend them for another 60 enchanted cards. I don't think this is necessarily a good idea. There are far better events for using contract storage gems. I think for anyone who is low on contract storage gems, whether you're a budget, free-to-play player, or just a spender that's feeling a bit exhausted from the last big events we've had, my recommendation, just grab your 600 contract storage gems from the contractual strategy and then just leave it. I wouldn't go ahead and spend them. I would just do a minimal approach to this week's event. I would get to stage 5 and I would just buy your first tier rewards from the glorious treasury. Some of you may be tempted to spend some contract storage gems and push to stage 7. That will get you an additional 5 glorious treasury coins. That's fine if you were thinking about going for 2 lots of this initial reward here in treasury 1, or you were hoping for an artifact from treasury 2. Now, spenders, you have a Moonlight gift here, which is exciting. This is giving you lots of rewards, but it does need you to spend a lot of money. Approaching this week's event is probably recommended for later game spenders who are in dire need of several of the resources granted by both the Starlight Melody, which we'll be talking about in a second, and more importantly, Treasury 6, which is giving you access to Star Soul items, which can be given to heroes once they're Nirvana. The thing with the Card Clash event, it's very focused around those items specifically. Yes, Treasury 5 does give you access to Destiny materials, and you can get that as soon as you've spent 40 Treasury coins, so you do need to pick up 6 lots of this to even get to Treasury 6, because that's 10 apiece, and you need to spend 60 to go from 40 to 100. However, the real reason I would spend here is for these Star Soul items. You can pick up as many as 4 of them this week if you spend $300. Now, that's a lot of money. $300 for 4 Star Soul items is expensive, but it is going to get you loads of other bonus rewards as well. So the Moonlight gift is going to give you lots of Prism Storage gems. It also gives you enchanted cards to make this possible, and it gets you double modifiers for the Starlight privilege at 100, which then becomes times 4, and times 6 for 200 and 300 respectively, and you also get double rewards from the Card Clash. On top of that, you get relics, you get an artifact chest, so that's a potential Demon Bell or Antler's Cane or whatever artifact you may need. You also have access to Stellar Shards here, we've got Soul Symbols, Crystals of Transcendence, and lastly, if you spend 300 bucks, an Origin Artifact Selection chest. The big reason for doing this is, first of all, it gives you 100 enchanted cards. Very nice. If that combines with a lot of your other rewards, you are easily going to make your way up to well over 400 enchanted cards this week, especially if you decide to go into the value packs and spend here to get yourself a decent stack of enchanted cards. Now, a lot of people that want to spend 300 bucks probably going to find themselves with 2 options. You're either going to buy Flora's Picnic once, and then you can consider going into the value packs here and buying either 2 of this top pack, which is going to take you to the full 300, or you can choose to get 1 of the top pack and 1 of the $50 pack, and then find the additional 50, likely from stuff such as privilege cards. Although people are leaning away from privilege cards at the moment, they're not finding them as good value as they used to be, as people aren't exactly struggling for gems, especially given the fact we're using a lot of our contract storage gems to pick up these massive gem packs. So maybe you don't want to do that, maybe it's just a matter of spending and getting the enchanted cards. If you choose to spend and get the enchanted cards up here for $200 by buying this twice and getting a Flora's Picnic, you then won't even need to use all your contract story gems here. In fact, I think you'll save 1,250 contract story gems, as you'll easily get to 500. Now, why is 500 an important number? Well, if you look at the Starlight Melody, this is an area that's going to give you a lot of bonuses, especially if you buy in the Moonlight gift. you will get points for using enchanted cards and for awakening heroes. If you can get to 500 enchanted cards, you actually don't need to awaken a single hero this week, which means you can save your contract story gems and not use them for awakens, which is attractive for spenders looking to be optimal with their resources. 500 enchanted cards is 1500 points, which is the maximum number of points you can gain. Then the multipliers will come into effect, giving you ×6 on that, which gets you 3 lots of this top chest here, which could be 3 origin artifact selection chests or 3 mysterious chests. I would lean towards the origin artifact chests, mainly because they have things like Grimoire and the pistol, which can be used to deify artifacts, but I understand if you go for this and you need demon bells, that would be fine. As well, you can see you're also getting treasure selection chests, as many if you go for the $300 approach, you're getting 6 orange chests, 3 pink chests, which can be massive for boosting the treasure train. You can go for strong items in hero token like Queen's Glass here, and the Lady Sunshade hat, and Azrael's flute. Some really, really powerful items that will get you massive progress in the hero token. I'll talk more about hero token in a second and why that's good, but let's lean back to some of these other rewards. You can see the 1500 pack is getting you 10 glorious treasury coins, which is amazing because you can get 6 of those if you get the ×6, which means you can get 60 glorious treasury coins from here. Consider then that the card clash, if you go ahead and do get 500 enchanted cards, you can easily go ahead and clear up to stage 20. So that's going to be 80 plus 60, which is 140 coins, which is enough to get 100, which will unlock the treasury 6, and then you have 40 left, so you can buy 4 times from here, which can help you get star souls for your Nirvana heroes. So really good if you're a late game player looking to establish for your Destiny heroes. More importantly, you'll see there's these lower chests. 100, 200, and 300 are pretty much identical, all giving Spiritual Essence, Transcendence copies, Master's Toolboxes, and Stellar Shards. It just varies what Transcendence copy chest is available. You will always get these chests every single time you hit their threshold. So every 100 points you get will get you an 100 chest, same for 200, 300. What you get from this is a massive amount of Spiritual Essence, and Spiritual Essence is often a bottleneck for later game players, as Spiritual Essence is needed in the millions to build heroes up to level 120 and eventually put Destiny on them. So you will definitely be wanting this if you're a later game player who's trying to establish more and more Destiny heroes, because funnily enough, Spiritual Essence becomes the bottleneck later on. For a lot of people earlier on, you definitely don't need the Spiritual Essence because actually Spiritual Essence can be obtained here from the Glorious Treasury. But even then, free-to-play players do get some nice stuff here as well. Because let's say you're a newer free-to-play player approaching the Starlight Melody, you're still probably going to be using 100 enchanted cards. That's 300 points. That's going to get you these 3 chests, and you're going to get the 100 one 3 times. So you actually do get some nice rewards from there as well. So you will be getting a small amount of Spiritual Essence, which can help. Stellar Shards as well can help. Master's Toolboxes, super useful. So even free-to-play players are getting good stuff as well. So this week's event is pretty much a resource top-up, giving Transcendence copies and Stellar Shards and Spiritual Essence for any player. Doesn't matter what approach it is, you just get a lot more if you spend. And of course, you're also picking up contract story gems, which if you're going to approach this very minimally, you'll actually get to keep for future events. So it's a nice resource top-up without having to invest too much at all. The 400 pack is just a chest here that contains some of our more recent Transcendence heroes from last year. And actually, that's it. You can't gain any chests that are giving newer ones like Wukong or anyone like that, which is unfortunate but understandable. The other approach you can do for this week's event, if you are planning on doing a little bit of Awakens, is actually buying the Flora's Picnic twice. That will get you a lot of Prism Story Gems. You also get the nice rewards here as well. And that's going to be $200 spent there. And then the final $100 I would do is spend on this top pack for another 40 enchanted cards. You will have to do a few Awakens so that you can get to the maximum points in the Starlight Melody. Of course, you're not going to get 500 enchanted tickets that way, so you will need to do Awakens to get the points to 1500. Of course, though, doing Awakens is not a bad thing, and you are also guaranteed B- stones from the card Clash of Illusion, which you can use to help you get points and awaken heroes, and then you can destroy them for contract story gems, which you can then use for even more Awakens. So that should be hopefully pretty useful for anyone who plans on doing that. So ultimately, there's several approaches. I think the best approach is that last one I said, which is 2 lots of the Flora's Picnic, and then 1 purchase here of the top pack for enchanted cards. But you may have to be wary about using too many contract story gems here. Just try and find a nice balance where you're able to get all the way up to stage 20 here in the card Clash of Illusion, and then you probably don't need to be buying too many additional packs from the bonus packages. and then I would just finish off your points with Awakens, and that should be a perfect middle ground where you get the maximum rewards with the maximum spend as well, $300 for your account. Don't be daunted, you don't need to always spend on this week's event. Card Clash is very repetitive, it's the same each time it comes around. The spending system is the same, the Flora's Picnic remains. It's an event that makes DHGames a lot of money, so they're probably unlikely to change it, and they fixed a few things that they tweaked last time to make it more optimal. Not only are the multipliers now really good, the rewards are fantastic as well, and of course, we do get bonus rewards for having Realms Gate progress as opposed to campaign progress. So all in all, I think everyone should be happy with this week. Next week is going to be Imp's Adventure finally returning with a shelter mission here offering Luna, Eloise, Waldeck, and Seahu with Patricia and Natalie as our heroes. We have an extra drop carnival in there, of course, as that will hopefully be something where you can pick up some nice rewards. Maybe we'll see the orange chests return to this. I hope that's the case. If you're excited for that, hit that subscribe button, and hopefully we'll get some really nice rewards next week as well. And I'll let you know in a breakdown similar to this one, how to get the best rewards in next week's event on top of that. So folks, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you approach this event either minimally and don't spend too much, walk away with some decent rewards and those contract story gems saved for a future event, or you can go in on this event, spend some big money, and get some massive stuff to help your account. Although I'd lean towards later game players, encouraging you to do that, as opposed to newer players. But of course, there's loads of stuff you can pick up anyway. And remember, the Glorious Treasury is giving stuff like Destiny materials, Sublimation, loads of rewards like that. So potentially anyone can get massive rewards if you choose to spend. Either way, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Hit that subscribe button. And as always, have an amazing week and happy idling.